Hello and welcome. My name is Michael A. Potter. I'm here today to give you my contribution towards the Virtual Brand Conference Ghana 2020, which will be taking place during this year. I'd like to just briefly talk about branding in particular from a global perspective. And I believe, it's my view, that there are three levels in terms of branding that anybody should take into account who's working in marketing, who's working in sales, who's working in business development, corporate promotion. And the three levels that I'd like to talk about are firstly the individual level, secondly the corporate level, and thirdly at government level. So let's start off by looking at the individual level. What do I mean by individual branding, and how does that transpire into what individuals should do? Well, from my perspective, as an individual, as a person, as a worker, as an employee, you have your own brand. So how does your own brand, where does it come from? Well, it's partly your makeup, it's partly your personality, it's the way you dress, it's the way you look, it's the way you present yourself, it's the way you act at work. Yeah, it's very important for individuals to promote themselves in the best light. And I'd like to say that, you know, whatever you do, the way you behave affects your brand. If you're seen to being a good, honest, hard-working person, you have a good brand. But we have to be careful not to spoil our brand. You know, the way we behave inside and outside of work is very important. And so therefore it's very important that individuals realise that they are the guardians of their own brand and nobody else. So it's up to you how you conduct yourself, how you conduct your life, and how others perceive you. So it's very important for any individual who wants to get on in life, whether it's through business, through personal aspirations, through study, through education, through whatever, that you lead yourself in the right light and you have a very good brand, a sought after brand. So have a think about that. The second area I'd like to talk about is corporate branding. And moreover, corporate branding is the theme of the virtual conference. How as organisations can we improve our brand? What can we do to make it more effective? Well, first point is that it's not easy to develop your own brand. Brand comes with time, it comes with experience, it comes with the product or the services that you sell. What differentiates a good brand to a bad brand is based on all of these things. So if you have a good product, if you have a good service, if you have good staff that are well trained, skilled, and you're providing an efficient product, efficient service, and a well sought after product, then you have a good brand. So it can take years to develop a good brand. You know, if I look globally at companies like Unilever, you know, some of the banks, Standard Chartered Bank, for example, they have good brands. Why do they have good brands? Well, they have good products. Of course, you're going to get people who would disagree with me. Maybe they've had a bad experience with a bank or a service. But in general, it's the companies that have good brands, strong brands, good products that do well and are more profitable. So, to make sure that you improve your brand, you've always got to be working on the product or the service. You can't stand still. You've got to keep developing new services, developing new brands, and taking into account what the consumers are looking for. So it's very important to keep up to date. We don't want to end up like a company like Kodak, who at one point their brand was the tops in photographic materials, and all of a sudden they were complacent. They didn't invest in digital technology, and before you know where you are, Kodak went bust and no longer exists. So we don't want our companies to end up like that. So it's very important that we keep our brand, developing our brand, making sure that our workforce are trained, well qualified, and providing the service that customers want. Customer surveys, feedback, all these tools help towards your brand. So, corporate branding is very, very important. It's based on the customer experience. If the customer experience is good and the sales are high, you know you have a good brand. If you're entering a market for the first time, you've got a lot of work to do in developing that brand against your competitors. But I'm not saying it cannot be done, it can be done. So corporate branding is key for any organisation. It's key to ensure good profitability, good sales, and it's key for the health of that organisation to grow and become a bigger, better, more efficient organisation. The third area I want to look at today is the branding of governments, in terms of how governments are perceived, because I think at government level it's very important, particularly if you're trying to attract investors from overseas and try to attract tourists from overseas or companies from other parts of the world, that the government has in place a good branding strategy. So the branding strategy is all about making the country in question the right place to invest, the right place for any international company to thrive, as well as the homegrown companies as well. So the governments have a role to play here in terms of ensuring that business can come and invest in the country under the right climate, under the right support, under the right policies and procedures and benefits, and maybe some tax breaks and incentives to enable companies, global companies, to come and invest. So I think no matter where you live in the world, it's the government's role to ensure that they are doing enough to attract foreign investment. Because if you attract foreign investment, the government can grow, the GDP will increase, the employment will go up, the profitability of these companies will add benefit to the community and to the nation, and to the suppliers and the providers of services. So these are the three levels: individual level, corporate level, and governmental level. And I honestly believe that these three levels are paramount in terms of when we talk about branding. So in conclusion then, I've spoken in detail about the three levels. So the conference is in Ghana, so let's focus a little bit on Ghana. You know, I've been visiting Ghana since 2004, 16 years now. And you know, when I first came here, Ghana is a totally different country now in 2020 than it was in 2004. I can personally experience the growth and investment here in this country. And let me talk a little bit then about the three levels and Ghana in particular. So if I look at the individual level, as I mentioned earlier, it's an individual's role to ensure that their brand is the correct brand. They have the right skills, they have the right qualifications, they have the right knowledge, and they understand. But also there's a link here to education. And I think it's important that the universities and colleges of Ghana and the tutors and the lecturers are giving students the right information, up-to-date information, challenging students about branding concepts, marketing concepts, business development concepts, so that the students can equip themselves with the right skills to be able to actually enhance their brand and to make the Ghanaian student community and the the Ghanaian workforce community higher skilled and specialised in what they do. There's always room for improvement, and I think any individual should always be looking for a next target. So once you achieve one target as an individual, you should be looking for your next target to always improve yourself. I always mention the word CPD, continuing professional development. So even though you're qualified, you'd still need to maintain your skills and knowledge and expertise. It never stops. So for individual level, I think there's a lot to be done. At the corporate level here in Ghana, I've seen a lot more investment. I've seen the oil industry develop here in Ghana over the last 5 to 10 years. It wasn't around in 2004. You know, I've seen banking infrastructure. I've seen 5-star hotels arise in and around Accra. Competition. Competition is more now than it ever has been here. So I think that the corporates, even though some of them are still thinking about the notion of branding, but I think if you don't have a branding strategy as a company, then you need to start to think about having a branding strategy, a marketing strategy, a business development strategy, so that you have your own identity. Your identity has a brand, it may have a logo, it may have a product, but branding over the next 5 to 10 years, I think, particularly here in Ghana, is going to be high on the priority list. So as a company, if you've not got a branding strategy or a brand in place, you should consider. And if you don't have the skill or ability to do it yourselves, don't be frightened to ask the experts to come along and help you. And in particular, Brains here in Ghana, I know, I've worked with them for a number of years now. They've got expertise and are currently working with a number of organisations here delivering a branding strategy. So please, don't be frightened to invest, because I think if you invest, your return will be substantial in the future. So the corporates in Ghana, I believe there's still a lot to do in the area of branding. Let me move on now to the last phase, the government. And of course, one of the advantages of Ghana is that the country here is very much a stable country and has been stable consistently, which the stability of any country would attract overseas investment. So I think a major strength of Ghana is the stability. And of course, you know, it's very important that the government also has the right approach in terms of providing funding and providing support and branding itself as a place to invest, whether it be business, whether it be tourism, or whether it be something else. You know, Ghana, from a tourism perspective, has endless opportunities to develop itself as a tourism destination. But a place to do business as well, a place where foreign organisations would be welcome and there would be incentives, and in return the foreign investment would create jobs and infrastructure and would provide suppliers with the support that they need to thrive and develop. So from a government perspective, I do believe that investment in both the private sector in particular, but also in the public sector in terms of providing the right level of service. You know, any government can also increase its brand, and it's down to the leaders at the top to drive the brand through. So Ghana is one of my favourite countries, and I do believe there's lots of opportunities here for lots of organisations to come here and invest. Okay, so I think that's it for today, but I hope to see you around, if not at this conference in person, but maybe at the next conference, because as we all know, with the pandemic, most conferences these days have been run virtually or remotely. So enough from me. I hope I've given you a flavour for branding, and I want you to go away and have a think about the 3 levels. And if you've got any comments or questions, please feel free to contact me by email, and I'd be happy to respond to you. My email contacts can be given to you by the organisers of this conference. So thank you. I wish you all the very best. Good luck. And please don't forget, make sure that you have your branding strategy in place. It's so important. Yes, hello. I'd just like to briefly mention, of course, next year's conference, the 2021 Branding Conference, which is going to take place here in Ghana. And I think the most important thing for 2021 will be to look back over 2020. And it's not been the best of years, 2020, for reasons that you're all aware of around the pandemic. But what the pandemic has told us, or taught us, is that we had to adapt to do things very differently to what we did in the past. So I'd like to call this branding reset. What do I mean by branding reset? Well, branding reset is actually looking at the way you did business pre-pandemic, and the way you continued with your business during and after the pandemic. And from what I've seen globally, there's been lots of changes, ranging from home working rather than office working. What I want you to think about is branding reset. Yeah. So, I would suspect that most companies will change the way that they work. So, what do I mean by change the way that they work? Well, first of all, have you done an audit? Have you done a review on the way you operate your business? Do you need all the staff that you've currently got? Are you able to look at jobs and maybe change jobs through rewriting job descriptions and person specs? Do you need new types of skills to come into your business? If so, what type of skills? Look, we've had to do things differently during 2020, and I'm sure that things will continue. If we look at things like artificial intelligence, technology, drone technology, robotic technology, all that is being advanced very quickly due to the pandemic. The way we are working is going to change dramatically. And I see 2021 as a big challenge for individuals, for organisations and for governments. So, at some point you need to do a brand reset. What do I mean by that? Well, you need to sit down, either on yourself as an individual, look at yourself, look at your skills, and are you fitting into the current frame? As a corporate, as an organisation, you need to do a brand reset. Is the things that you're offering pre-pandemic the same as post-pandemic? Or do you need to change things? Do you need to change your business strategy, your business plan, your technological strategy, your staffing, your manpower, your resources, your budgets? So, branding resets and organisational resets are going to be very important. So, that's what I mean by branding reset. At some point, reviewing what you did in the past and how you're going to align that to the future, so that you make yourself as an individual or a corporate entity or a business or a service more efficient and profitable and service driven. So that's what I mean by brand reset. And remember, Brand Conference GH is going to be hitting town again in 2021, and I hope to be there in person. And I've also been told that there are some free tickets available for the conference, so please contact the organisers. Terms and conditions do apply, but there are, I believe, free tickets available and on offer at the moment. So please make some inquiries about that if you're interested in attending. So I hope to see you there when I'll be able to talk in more detail about some of the concepts and strategies that I've shared with you today. It's a pleasure as always to speak to you and to be here in Ghana, and thank you for listening to me. Bye bye for now.